Well, good morning. You're watching Morning at NTV as we review 2018. Today is extra special. I mean, if anything is to do with women's issues, I have a smile on my face. Flavia Tumusime, time for us to take note. Joining me is a mother, a wife, and a director at St. Mark's College. Is it Nama?
Namagoma.
Namagoma. Yes. Alice Damler. Good morning.
Morning, Flavia.
Yeah. I quickly asked your mother. She said, "Mother, I'm a wife." Very proud.
Yeah, these are roles that I cherish.
Good.
And when I talk about mothering, it's not only about my own biological children.
Okay. Yes, the school as well.
The school as well, and everybody who is in that age bracket that requires to be nurtured.
Wow.
Is something that I cherish.
So your own, you have how many kids?
The school.
Your own.
My own. I have biologically 3 children.
3 children.
Yes.
Okay. So gender issues. I mean, Alice Damler is part of Pillars.
Yes.
In the palace,
yes.
But you have when you told me you've been in very many women conferences or forums. I'm inclined to think you like the discussion around women. You know, gender issues.
Yeah, I love the discussion around women, but I love the younger women more because they give us a platform to prepare them well before they're actually there. Some of the things that we got to know them a little late, but if you get to know everything a little earlier, then you navigate your way.
You know, I think that's the biggest thing that we've discovered, especially women who've grown into careers, into motherhood, is that I wish certain things were told to me when I was about 21, 22.
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest discovery. But as we're reviewing gender issues for 2018, we can't help but talk about the women. Because I know someone's going to say gender and then you're not talking about the boys.
But
the biggest discussion has been around women. I'm not quite sure what happened, Alice, for 2018, but sexual reproductive health has been a huge topic.
Exactly.
Actually, you're a director of a school, and I know in schools they're trying to introduce a sexual reproductive health sort of curriculum. How to tell girls about these things, how to tell boys about these things. I'm wondering, first of all, hasn't this existed already in schools?
It actually used to happen, but children were informed according to what people thought was the right age. You introduce sexuality when actually somebody is prepared for that role. When you introduce it early, children are very inquisitive. They would want to find out a little more. They said this. Let me try. Discovery for a child at times may be misleading. So given the age, I know that back in the day, they would prepare the girl child
at a
certain age when they are ready for the role.
But now, you know, they have access to information.
They have access to information. Now it's more of alerting them. This is what is there, but please take precaution, be cautious, don't fall into this bracket, because whatever you do, I usually tell my children, my students, when I talk about my children, I'm not talking about my biological children only, I'm talking about everybody whom I'm capable of being a mother. Whatever happens to you, the consequences affect you first and most.
Before mom, dad,
my
colleagues.
Their colleagues. So it's about you. So if you have that kind of understanding, then you'll be more responsible for your life. Even when all this is introduced to you, sexuality, reproductive health, it is introduced, you have the knowledge. How are you using that knowledge?
All right. So, because I mean, I know I've been on a few panels for sexual reproductive health issues, and it's the biggest conflict. You have doctors on a panel telling you one thing. You have teachers telling you one thing. You have government
telling you something else.
Something else. Because even just like you're saying, age appropriateness, I thought that this year there was a bit of a tough issue on what to introduce to children when. And people like doctors are telling you, I have a 16-year-old walking into the hospital pregnant. I don't have time to tell them not to have sex. They've already clearly had sex. So my conversation can't be abstinence. Even if it's supposed to be aligned that a 16-year-old is supposed to be that. But you brought me to something that has been a big discussion in 2018, and I told you I'm surprised we even still discuss early childhood marriage. And actually they said there should not be childhood marriages because there's no such thing as childhood marriages. But how, Alice, in 2018 is it okay for a parent to marry off a 15-year-old?
How? We can talk about the how, but the most important thing that it's here with us.
And these are not 2 cases, 3
Three
cases.
cases and so on. But you keep getting all these stories all over the place. And then you say, we have a real problem at hand that needs to be addressed. Yes, it could be quite shaming. That in 2018.
It is.
Yes.
I'm even surprised this is a discussion we had in 2018.
In 2018.
15-year-olds getting married off, guys.
Exactly. But it is happening.
Yes.
So it needs to be addressed. And I think everybody who is concerned and taking the right steps towards that direction, they're doing a great job. Because there are certain communities that still feel like a 15-year-old, it's okay. My mother was married at 14. So what's wrong with this, marrying off my daughter at 15? But the most painful part is when it's a mother who is involved.
Are mothers ever involved in this?
You haven't seen the stories in the papers?
I thought it was the father. I thought it was a poverty issue.
It is a poverty issue. And even if it's a mother involved, it's still a poverty issue. It's got nothing to do. And at times, some of them they're influenced by the community around. And when it comes to community influence, people give you the impression there is nothing wrong with that. You're not the first one. So you can as well go ahead and have it. Or you can go ahead and do it. Even when you talk about like a 16-year-old being conscious about getting to a sexual relationship, some of them, many times, it's the peers who push them too hard. I don't think there's any parent who sits down with the child in this day and age in our forums and tells the child it's okay. But the peers will tell them there's no problem. Yeah. So even in the communities where this is happening, the childhood marriages, where it is happening, communities have not seen the problem that comes along with that.
Yeah. Yes. So they've normalized it.
They've normalized it. Yes.
Yeah. But I think that was one of the saddest things we've had to discuss for 2018.
Yes.
Young girls who are getting married off. But I also want to talk about, because when we talked to you, I said, please come and let's talk about championing women. What we've done for 2018 and what we've not done.
Yes.
Outside of sexual harassment and sexual and reproductive health, the biggest issue was the gender pay gap. Again, these are not issues we should be very surprised about.
Yes.
But you were telling me how, before we discuss the fact that maybe women and men are paid differently or women are not favored in the workplace, let's discuss what kind of people we're churning out. Are they mentored? Are they trained? Are they educated?
That's it.
Why are we starting there?
We need to start at that point. I have come to a point of appreciating that it is irrelevant for me to condemn certain actions when somebody was not told what to do. If I'm ignorant, why would you have expectations out of my ignorance? You did not, Flavia, you did not prepare me and tell me that when you're a woman and you're going in the workspace, negotiate, be assertive. You've always informed me that as a woman, I have a certain place.
Yes.
And that's it. So when I get there, and I'm given that kind of pay, there's the payment gap. Nobody has equipped me or empowered me to say, when you get there, negotiate.
And who are supposed to equip me? My mom and dad growing up at university level, my mentor. Who are we blaming here who didn't do their job, in other words?
It's not that anybody didn't do their job. It is getting to a level. And before we started this conversation, I kept thinking, and I was saying that women who have been able to get to the top and are there and have understood the dynamics, how many of them have come back to begin empowering the young ones? I mean, senior one, and somebody comes and inspires me and says, when you get there,
this is what happens.
This is what happens. This is what you should do. Never, if you get to a room, do you know that when you get to a room, and I'll just give an example of a boardroom, and this is what I've been informed, not so many years ago, maybe 2 years ago, don't serve tea to the men. You know that the men
yes.
You go to the boardroom and you want to serve tea and say, no, don't serve
because
tea.
You're told to take care of people.
To take care of people. That's how you've been nurtured. That's how you have grown up. So, but if you start that way, even when you begin to give powerful and relevant information, and you're trying to deliberate on something, they already have a perspective about you that what you're saying probably is not as powerful. So when you tell me when I'm still young and I'm working my way up there, I am conscious that there are certain things that I'm not going to do. But I wouldn't want to blame who did it, and how many women have been in those influential positions. The percentage is very minimal. So many are trying so hard to get there, but we need to empower women at a very early age.
Okay. So when we talk about reviewing gender women issues in 2018, we're saying that there needs to be enough examples?
Yes. There need to be enough examples. I was thinking, I read in the Monitor, and I was looking at these women whom we look up to, who have really done a good job, who have accomplished and whom we're proud of. You know, when I look at Jennifer Musisi,
I almost said Jennifer Musisi.
So, you know, there are things that she has done. When I look at Allen Kajina, there are things that he has done. When I look at Justice Irene Muliagonja, and then you look at the environment, and then you acknowledge, well, it doesn't favor them.
It's a man's world.
It's a man's world.
Unfortunately.
So, as we're juggling through all this, it is to keep moving forward and say, we are going to empower ourselves as women. We are going to empower the young women, not in an aggressive manner, but quite to be assertive and say, I have an equally important role to play, just like the men.
Help me understand, especially you're in a better position to say this because you work with younger, you work with students.
Yes.
How do you merge the two? Because I think that's one of the biggest questions I got this year from young girls. They tell you, how do you want me to be the head of marketing, head of whatever, walk into a boardroom and not be told because I'm the only woman in there to serve tea, but I'm also managing to go back home and be submissive and be told to manage how to take care of people. How do I manage the two roles and know when what starts and what ends? Because you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. I fully understand. And there is, I think it was 3 to 4 weeks ago, there was this young girl, and I was so impressed. She was the leader of the group. She was the team leader. But the boys, she was the only girl. So all the boys in the room expected her service. So they would take the tea and leave the cups.
Because she would clear the cups.
Yeah, she would clear the cups. And she would tell them, no, pick your cups. We need to continue with the meeting. And they would tell her, but you take the cups, you're the girl. I said, but I'm not your mother. I'm not your mother, neither am I your wife. So you pick those cups. So it is important to draw the lines. When you draw the lines in the workplace, people will begin to accord you that respect and also realize that you are a leader, you know, in that respect. And there is that kind of equity when it comes to the workplace. Now, when it gets to getting back home, it is the women who have the role to nurture character in children. And we also know, much as we want to defy it, and we can defy it, but we know the men with the head and the women with the heart.
Yes, I've heard that before.
You've heard that before.
Yes.
And you're like, we need some stability here, so I'll think with my heart and let him think with his head.
Okay.
Yeah. So at home, play your role as the mother, as the wife, because you have the duty to nurture character. But when you get to the workplace, you draw the lines because you're actually there as an employee with equal opportunities, just like the men. Yes.
Let's talk about leadership. I mean, you're a director. I'm sure the school doesn't have only women in the administration. If anything, if I'm not mistaken, you might have less women.
Definitely, we do have less women.
This is the most predictable thing.
Yes.
Let's talk about leadership for women in 2018. And I know you might tell me, Flavia, it starts from when they're young. Are the girls being given leadership positions in schools? Are they being trained to be, you know, someone told me, do you remember in school, head boy, head girl, the head boy had a slightly higher rank than the head girl. I said, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Did you guys know that head boy, head girl, the head boy had a slightly higher wuyinja than... I thought they were all the same.
Well, when you're young, it's not so obvious.
Yes.
But I want to pat ourselves on the back at St. Mark's College, Namagoma. For the last 2 years, our head prefects are female.
Okay, so you only have one leader.
We have a
one top leader.
We have one top leader, and then we have the head boy and the head girl.
Yeah.
But the top leader
has been female.
Has been female for the last year.
Okay.
And this year we have another female.
But we're not saying that only women should have leadership positions.
No.
But
Yeah,
we're
sorry.
discussing why we don't have enough women in leadership positions.
Yes.
And I know that a few days ago when I had Flavia Kaulea discussing, she said that it's a numbers game in advocacy.
Yes.
So if any policy is going to favor us women,
Yes.
we need numbers.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with we have the best leaders, as in quality.
Quality, yes.
We need also
The
quantity.
numbers, the quantity, yes,
You know,
so
so
true.
there'll still be 2 votes if you have
Yes.
2 women leaders.
Yes.
So on the advocacy level, we need more women.
Yes.
So what is it? They're not letting us stand for this? Is it a case of letting us take these leadership
It
positions
is not about,
anyway?
it is not about letting you take the position. Nobody's going to give you that opportunity.
true.
Nobody's going to give you that platform. You should prove that you're worth it.
So are we not worth it?
No, we
are
are
you trying
worth
to tell
it.
me 2018 we can clearly look around and say there are no women?
No. We are worth it. But I'm talking about the proving.
Oh, okay.
Yes. There is some work you need to do. You don't just sit back and say, oh, we see a lot of quality in Flavia. Oh, she's a great leader. But if you don't come up front, if you don't come forward, and you know, people, you demonstrate, because people are observing. So they've observed you in the private life. And in that small corner where you keep yourself, and they're saying, no, move forward. Come in the limelight. Let people see you for who you are. Because you're a great leader, which we actually don't do as women.
How
Our comfort
come?
is to step back. It is okay. We're juggling with so many things.
We are
Yes.
stressed.
We are stressed. We have family, we have children, and you're like, okay, I have a career to pursue. Okay, I would love to be a CEO. Then you have all these guilty feelings running around and, oh, I left the children at home. And you go to a forum and say, you leave your children, nobody's taking care of your children. They talk about how you're leaving the children in the hands of somebody else.
People say this?
They do. They do.
Is this fellow women judging?
Fellow women,
men?
they're not even judging you. They're just telling you of the product you finally have because of your absence.
Oh, wow.
And you definitely feel guilty and you're like, okay, let me go back. But then you also find, how can I get support systems?
Okay.
People-
Because I was about to ask you if that will never change.
No, it can't change.
There's more women CEOs still aspiring to be mothers.
Yes.
So you're not going to tell them to choose one.
No. I'm saying you can choose both.
Okay.
You can get a support system.
A support system.
Yes.
What does a support system look like?
A support system looks like we could have friends around us,
Okay.
family members around us who know and who are ready to help us achieve our dreams. Because if I have a good family member who come and step in for me or pick my child from school and I know they are safe with my child and I can pick my child, I will tell you I have a support system of family. And if I cannot pick the children, my brother-in-law will pick the children, my one brother will pick the children, my sister can pick the children. So you know that I can step back and accomplish my tasks because I have a nice support system. So it's important that as women, we are saying, let's advance forward. Let's identify those elements that can help us, to support us as we go up the ladder.
You know, I almost asked you about women supporting women, especially when we're talking about
Yes.
how people go in forums and say, but you're rising in the career ladder.
Yes.
Who are you leaving your,
Your
children,
children
for? You know, who's raising your children?
Yes.
But I think, and I think you can help me talk to me about, from experience maybe as a woman, what happens when you feel you can't manage it all? You know, when at some point you feel like
You're imbalanced.
you're imbalanced,
Yes.
and especially not even imbalanced from the fact that you can't handle it, imbalanced
Yes.
from the fact that society.
Yes.
If there's been a big conversation this year when it comes to gender issues and women's issues, it's the fact that they're telling the girl child you can't have it all.
Yes.
2018, it's one conversation, you're superwoman, you can do it all, you
should-
can go to school, be the best scientist or whatever you want to be, but at some point you won't have it all. So how do we deal with society telling us one thing and us believing the other? How do the two meet?
How do the two meet? That is a very, very important issue. Actually, when you are asking me, I kept having, that kind of reflection. But are we being realistic about this?
Yeah.
Are we being realistic about this? About the expectations of the girl child tomorrow?
In society,
In society, because at the end of the day, we're going to still be the mothers. We're going to be the ones breastfeeding. But I would also want to applaud the institutions who have helped mothers, young mothers, putting up nursing facilities,
to
transition,
returning back to
returning
work.
back to work, and so on. When you get that kind of support from the workplace, and you can also get support from the family, then you can be able to balance the two.
Okay.
But if you have only support from family and you don't have support from the workplace, it is also very difficult to balance.
So my support system includes my workspace as well.
Exactly.
I mean, my boss is a female.
Yes. Your boss is a female.
Yeah.
Then she should appreciate that. And I remember years back, it could be like 15 or 17 years ago, a lady told me that for me, I don't employ young girls. And I asked her why.
What?
Yeah. Why? So mine is a business. So this business of I'm going to give birth, and I'm like, really?
Also, they want to hire you at a point where you're not to get pregnant.
And
but I laugh, but that's the truth.
That's the truth.
That's the reality.
That is the reality. Yeah, that is the reality. And then you get back and say, but you have daughters yourself.
Yeah, we can't talk to the girl child if that's what is at the end.
At
if that's
the
what they're
end.
going to meet at the end.
At the end. But then if you tell yourself and say, but I am a mother, and I have my own children. I have invested in them. And I want them to make the most of my investment. If I want the same for my children, then I could have a little reflection for this other child whom I'm employing today.
Yes.
Yes.
That's someone's daughter.
That's someone's daughter as well, and you want them to go up the ladder. So we should have those kinds of, personal reflections. What is good for my own daughter should be good for somebody else's daughter. And if the employers are willing and ready to open up the space and appreciate that women, they're going to be mothers. We're the ones who are going to give birth. We're not going to change roles tomorrow with the men. So let's appreciate them because they are also quality. We have quality employees, we have quality CEOs. But because their roles are as such, we should facilitate them. So we should get the support system from the workspace, and we get the support system from families.
Okay.
We can be able to balance.
That's true. So we were just talking about, the girl child of 2018. What has happened for 2018 for us to sort of prepare them and say, and also what's happening to us, the older women who are in the workspace, who are in leadership, who are doing all these things. Before I get into mentorship and what mentorship looks like for the girl child and quality, I think it's key for us to note, Alice, that as much as we're saying put these spaces for women to excel in the workspace, to excel in the home, to excel wherever they are in society, it is also important for women to not use that same card to get anywhere.
Yes, exactly. Yes, so true. So
because
true.
me, I'm underprivileged. I need all these spaces. Let me move ranks. I think it's also important for women to realize that if we're asking for the same treatment or equality, I'm going to have to fight the same way the gentleman is going to fight for his job. So it's not a free card for us to wave every time we want something to happen. But mentorship, that's very key to you. You were talking to me about this. You said it's important. We need to start down.
Yes.
Because now for us it's a bit too late. You can't start teaching me anything. I'm learning, but it takes longer to teach me at my age of 30 than it will take a 23-year-old. So what kind of mentorship is the girl child looking for or should be looking for? Am I just looking for somebody who's in the same space and I just ask them questions and I walk away? Because mentorship is misunderstood. So what should mentorship look like for the girl child going forward?
Going forward, mentorship for the girl child, I always tell my girls and my students and people, the young people that I work with, when it comes to mentorship, look out for people who are interested in your personal growth and development. Not everybody is interested. Not everybody would want to see you grow.
Rise,
So that is the key thing. Who is interested in your growth? Who is interested in your personal development? Who is interested in your career? That's where it all starts from. And when you get to that level and say, Flavia is interested in my growth, then the mentorship will start.
Am I waiting for Alice to come to me and say she's interested in my career growth? Or am I talking to 5 people and then realizing one took more interest than the other?
Usually, the need comes from the mentee.
Okay. So you don't sit around.
You don't sit around and then you wait for somebody to come begin looking for you. It comes from the mentee.
Yes.
I just mentioned to my students, said, when you go out, you finish your senior 6. But when you go out, if you want to make leaps and bounds, find a mentor. And then they told me, how can I find a mentor? But what struck me is that many of them were thinking of very high-profile people.
We shouldn't be thinking of
Not think of the very high-profile people, but who are the ideal people who are interested in your growth and development?
Okay.
Primarily, they're your parents.
Oh, right. So Jennifer Musi might not have 2 hours for me every other day.
But your money will have, even for the simplest of questions. If you ask her, but mommy, how can I do this? How can I? If she cannot engage you, if she cannot be able to give you full information, she will definitely get somebody who can walk the journey with you.
Yes, yes.
So that's where it starts from. We want those high-profile names. They sound good for you to stand back and say, so-and-so, Flavia was my mentor.
Rebecca Kadaga is my mentor.
Rebecca Kadaga.
But she does not have the time.
She doesn't have
to
the
start
time
running
for
after
you to run. Yeah, exactly. And also being, for you to be, for her to have that kind of accountability, you know, mental disposition. How far has Flavia gone? She's told me she's going to do this. She told me she's going to start this. How far has she gone? Is she doing what we agreed? Did we have that kind? So then that kind of mentoring should start early, but it should be the mentee to show interest.
Yes. Okay, so as we wind up, I think that's probably the biggest key if we're talking about raising girls in 2018.
Yes.
Oh, now we're moving into 2019.
Yes.
So it should be the initiative of you, a young girl who's saying that I need to get better, I need to be better.
Yes.
Look for these mentors. But also you don't need to look
very far.
You
So
can
true.
look around you, your sisters,
the sisters,
even your brothers.
Even your brothers.
It doesn't mean that girls are only mentored by fellow women.
Fellow women, no.
No. And so look around, because the people you might be aspiring to be are either too far or too busy.
Or too busy, yes.
And also I think what I've taken from you before we wind up is that the person has to be invested in you as well.
Yes.
Because why is someone like Doris Okol taking interest in me when she doesn't even know me that much? So start with someone who knows you, who will then know your strengths and recommend you.
Exactly.
I think that's probably the best takeout. Alice Damanero, thank you for your time this morning.
You're very welcome.
That's it for Morning at NTV. Have a good day.